Subscribe to Dr. Nightmare Channel now.
Story 4. The Puzzle Box. I've always had a thing for puzzles. Not just jigsaws, but codes, riddles, ciphers, anything that made my brain ache and stretch. As a kid, I was the one who solved the newspaper Sudoku faster than my parents could find their coffee. I wasn't athletic or social, but give me a locked door, a series of symbols, or a pattern no one else could see, and I was in my element. By the time I reached my late 20s, I was deep into what most people would call advanced cryptography. But what I really specialized in was hidden systems, layers behind layers, Easter eggs, defunct domains, sites swallowed by the web's undercurrent. Most of it was harmless fun, unlocking forgotten websites, finding ARGs created by bored programmers, deciphering dead URLs that looped back into themselves like digital Mobius strips. But in late October of 2016, I stumbled upon something that didn't want to be solved, something that was never meant to be touched. It began when I found a comment buried in the source code of an abandoned webcomic site. The comment read, "If you've come this far, you've already opened the first door. See what lies beneath. Vector.black/pb-entry." It was an unlisted link, dead to most search engines. Just text, no images, no style sheets, no formatting. A blank white page with a single prompt, "Enter your name." I hesitated. Usually these things asked for usernames, maybe an alias, but this was different, personal. Curious, I typed, "Aaron." The page blinked once, then loaded what looked like an ancient text adventure game interface. "Welcome, Aaron. Do you wish to play?" There was a yes and a no. I hovered over no just to see what would happen. The moment my cursor touched it, the screen glitched and turned black. Static filled the speakers. Then the screen pulsed red and displayed, "That's not an option anymore." I clicked yes. The screen shifted. A diagram of a box appeared, black lines etched into a white cube, symbols on each side, runes, clock hands, and strange geometric spirals. Below it, a prompt read, "Solve the box." At first, it seemed simple. You clicked the sides of the cube, rotated them, and aligned the symbols in a particular order, but each solution revealed a new layer, more complex than the last. Every time I thought I'd cracked it, the game changed. It was intelligent. It learned how I solved. It adjusted. The difficulty wasn't linear. It evolved. After 3 hours straight, the background began to fade into something darker. The symbols no longer felt abstract. They started to look familiar, like diagrams from old religious manuscripts, like something ancient was watching me through the code. But I couldn't stop. It had its hooks in me. Eventually, I solved what I thought was the final configuration. The cube cracked open, the screen flashed black and white like a strobe, then a message appeared. "The box has opened. Thank you for playing, Aaron. Coordinates, 38.8972 north, 7.0369 west. 1 hour, come alone, bring nothing." I stared at the screen. Those were real coordinates. I checked Google Maps. It pointed to a narrow alley in Washington, D.C., just behind a condemned theater that had been shut for years. I lived in Baltimore. It was only an hour away by car. I should have ignored it. I should have laughed, called it a brilliant prank by some hacker genius who had crafted the ultimate ARG. But deep inside, I felt something shift, like I'd just unlocked something I was never supposed to see. And worse, I felt watched. I closed my laptop, packed a hoodie, and drove. It was past midnight when I arrived. The city was quiet. Fog curled along the pavement. The alley was narrow and dark. A metal gate leaned off its hinges. Beyond it, I found a wooden crate, no bigger than a shoebox, sitting perfectly centered in the path. It had no markings, just a burnished black surface covered in a thin layer of dust. I picked it up. It was cold, much heavier than it looked. I took it home. That was mistake number 2. Once inside, I set the box on my desk and examined it. No hinges, no seams, just a perfectly smooth cube of dark, almost obsidian-like material. But when I touched it, it responded. Faint glowing symbols flickered beneath the surface, only visible from certain angles. I couldn't stop staring at it. That night, I had dreams. I stood in a vast circular chamber filled with hundreds of identical boxes, each pulsed with a low hum like a mechanical heartbeat. Something moved among them, tall, faceless figures cloaked in black, whispering in a language that made my ears bleed even in sleep. When I woke, my nose was bleeding. I should have thrown it away. Instead, I opened my laptop and went back to the site. It was gone, totally wiped. But the box was still on my desk, humming faintly. Over the next few days, things got worse. The lights in my apartment began flickering, always in the presence of the box. Electronics misfired. My phone would glitch, showing pictures of people I didn't know, blurry, twisted faces in dark rooms. The temperature dropped, not just inside me. I felt it. The presence. Whatever had been locked in that digital construct, it had crossed over. Not physically, but through attention, through solving, through understanding. I had been its final key. The dreams turned into visions, waking ones. I'd blink and the world would stutter like a scratched DVD. People's faces would smear, words on signs twisted into symbols from the box. I began hearing whispers when no one was around. They always said the same thing: turn the box. And one night, when I finally did, it opened. Not physically, but somehow my mind entered it. I was no longer in my apartment. I was inside a structure, mechanical yet alive, walls shifting, rooms pulsing with breath. It was infinite, a maze of dimensionless corridors lined with faces trapped behind glass, all screaming silently. And in the center, something waited. It had no name, no face, just a form made of language, of logic. It spoke in riddles, in numbers that rearranged themselves into memories I'd forgotten. It knew everything about me, every fear, every lie, every unsolved question that had haunted my life. And it demanded more. The box wasn't a puzzle. It was a gateway. And I had been the solution. When I came to, hours had passed. My nose was bleeding again. So were my ears. And the box was gone. Not missing. Gone. Like it had never been there. But I wasn't the same. Something had stayed behind. Something inside. Now, when I walk past screens, they flicker with symbols, puzzles no one else sees. I hear voices and static. If I hold my breath long enough, I can still feel the walls of that place. And every few nights, someone leaves a small square package outside my door. Always the same weight, always cold to the touch. I don't open them anymore, but I know what they are. Invitations. Each box is meant for someone else. I wasn't the first. I won't be the last. And the worst part? A small part of me still wants to solve them. But I won't, because now I know some puzzles solve you.